Hello everyone, welcome back. Welcome to Azure AZ-900 Azure Fundamentals certification. We have already discussed Module 1 and Module 2. Now I'm going to talk about Module 3, Understand Security, Privacy, Compliance, and Trust. This module covers 25 to 30%, but also it has some of the most ambiguous questions. So you will have questions with possible two answers and you will be a bit confused. So let's get started. If you haven't followed my previous videos, please go back and check out other videos in my playlist Azure AZ-900 Fundamental Certification, or else continue to watch this video. Security, responsibility, and trust in Azure. Security responsibility is shared with Azure. That means it's a shared responsibility. Identity management provides protection and even outside your network. You have encryption capabilities to build into Azure that can protect your data, virtual network, and then advanced threat protection. All these things are available in Azure, which you can use. Shared responsibility. So shared responsibility increases for it from this side to this side. It increases for Microsoft, and if you are on this side, then it is mostly for customer. So if you can see, if you are on-premise, all the responsibilities are yours, and then if you use IaaS, then your responsibilities are less reduced, and so on with platform as a service and software as a service. So responsibilities are shared, but still you have to be vigilant, and you will have questions related to this in your exam. So I want you to just remember this, that the most responsibilities customer has is on-premise or IaaS, and least is SaaS, software as a service. To discuss it, Microsoft has physical security for their data centers, then identity and access, then over that there is perimeter, then network security, then compute, which is resource level security, then application level security, and then data level security. So generally these two securities are your application level security. Compute level security is when you are using some resources. You have Azure Security Center, which provides you overall a great place to start when examining the security of Azure-based solutions. Is Azure Security Center is a monitoring service that provides threat protection across all your services, both in Azure and on-premises. Security centers can provide security recommendations based on your configuration, resources, and networks, monitor security settings across on-premises and cloud workloads, and automatically apply required securities to new services as they come online. Continuously monitor all your services. Use machine learning to detect and block malware and being installed on your virtual machines and services. We have two types of Azure security service tiers. One is free, which is available as part of your Azure subscription. This tier is limited to assessments and recommendations of Azure resources only. And then there is standard. which provides a full suite of security-related services, including continuous monitoring and threat protection detection, just-in-time access control for ports, and more. This is paid. So to access the full suite of Azure Security Center services, you will need to upgrade to a standard tier subscription. You can access the 30-day free trial from within Azure Security Center dashboard in Azure portal. After 30-day trial period is over, Azure Security Center is $15 per node per month. So you can use it for Security Center for incident response, like you detect, then you assess, diagnose, stabilize, and then you close it. And that can be in a loop. You can use Azure Security Center recommendations to enhance your security. You can create security policies. You can Security Center analyze the security state of your Azure resources. When Security Center identifies potential security vulnerabilities, it creates recommendations based on the controls set in the security policy. To upgrade a subscription to standard tier, you must be assigned the role of subscription owner, subscription contributor, or security admin. Then second, you have identity and access. To manage your access, you have network perimeters, firewalls, and physical access controls used to be primary protection for your corporate data, but network perimeters have become increasingly porous with the explosion of bring your own device, mobile apps, and cloud applications. Identity has become the new primary security boundary. Therefore, proper authentication and assignment of privileges is critical to maintaining control of your data. So then you have to manage authentication and authorization. Two fundamental concepts that need to be understood when talking about identity and access control are authentication and authorization. Authentication is the process of establishing the identity of a person or service looking to access a resource. It involves the act of challenging a party for long legitimate credentials and provides the basic for creating a security principle for identity and access control use. It establishes if they are if it establishes if they are who they say they are. So basically it identifies who you are. And authorization is the process of establishing what level of access an authenticated person or service has. It specifies what data they are allowed to access and what they can do with it. So after the authentication, you do authorization. So it's like you check your roles. So authentication is sometimes shortened to auth-n and same as auth-z for authorization. For that purpose, you have Azure Active Directory, which contains authentication, single sign-on, application management, business-to-business identity service, device management, single sign-on. So your company, your organization has a record of your employees' data. With single sign-on, users need to remember only one ID and one password. Access across applications is granted to a single identity tied to a user, simplifying the security model. As user changes their role or leave an organization, access modifications are tied to the single identity, greatly reducing the effort needed to change or disable accounts. So you will have this question in your exam asking about which authentication system you should apply if you want to minimize the efforts when if someone leaves your organization. You just have to disable or remove some of its roles. So SSO is the answer. And you can do SSO with Azure Active Directory, because Azure Active Directory has data of all the clients, all the employees, and then you can use that for Azure for SSO. You have multi-factor authentication, something you know, something you possess, something you are. So in multi-factor authentication, you are asked to prove one of these three things: something you know, something you possess, or something you are. Something you know might be some security code. Something you possess is your mobile phone. Something you are might be your fingerprints. Then all this all these identity you can provide to services, and these services are based on principles. So to understand service principles, it's useful to first understand the word identity and principles. An identity is just the thing that can be authenticated. Obviously, this includes users with a username and password, but it can also include applications or other servers which might authenticate with secret keys or certificates. So, identity is simple, something is used which is simple, something which is used for the authentication. A principal is an identity acting with certain roles or claims. Usually it is not useful to consider identity and principles separately, but think of using sudo on bash, prompt Linux on Windows using run as administrator. In both those cases, you are still logged in as the same identity as before, but you have changed the role under which you are executing. So principal is basically after authorization. So you are given some roles, and those roles are attached to your identity. A service principal is an identity that is used by a service or application, and like other identity, it can be assigned roles. So that's why you have uh, role-based access control. You have management group, subscription, resource group, and resources. So you can provide these role-based access controls permissions like read-only or contributor that users can be granted to access an Azure instance. So that depends on your level. Also, you have a privileged identity management, which is another type of uh, role authorization. Then you have encryption. For security purpose, you have encryption. Encryption is the process of making data unreadable and unusable to unauthorized viewers. To use or read the encrypted data, it must be decrypted, which requires the use of a secret key. There are two top-level types of encryption: symmetric and asymmetric. Symmetric uses the same key to encrypt and decrypt the data, whereas asymmetric uses public key and private key pair. Either you can encrypt, but a single key can't decrypt its own encrypted data. To decrypt, you need the pair key. Asymmetric is used for things like transport layer security, TLS security. Also, it is used in HTTPS and data signing. You have two types of encryptions in Azure: encryption at rest and encryption at transit. Data at rest is the data that has been stored on physical medium. This data could be stored on disk of a server, data stored in a database, or data stored in a storage account. That that is, and if you encrypt that data, that is encryption at rest. And if you have encryption in transit, that means when you uh, send your data over HTTPS or VPN, then you can encrypt your data in transit over this network, and then your data is encrypted. You have different type of encryptions in Azure. Transparent data encryption, which means even the data stored in Azure SQL database data or in a data warehouse, it is encrypted. This data is still encrypted, so even the even the data in a SQL server is encrypted. You will have questions related to this in your exam. They may ask about type of encryption, so encryption at rest and encryption in transit. You have this, but also about Azure Key Vault. This is important. They will ask you about Azure Key Vault. Encryption, we have seen many encryption services all use keys to encrypt and decrypt that data. So how do we ensure that the keys themselves are secure? Corporations may also have passwords, connection strings, and other sensitive pieces of information that they need to securely store. In Azure, you can use Azure Key Vault that stores your um, passwords, certificates, connection string, and other sensitive data. It is a centralized it is a centralized cloud service for storing your application secrets. Key Vault helps you control your certificates, application secrets by keeping them in a single central location and by providing secure access, permissions control, and access logging capabilities. It have secret management, key management, certificate management, and store secrets backed by hardware security modules. So you will have questions related to Azure Key Vault for sure in your exam. You just have to remember four things. Azure Key Vault is used for secret management, meaning access tokens, password certificates, application programming interface, keys, API keys, and other secrets. Key management, you can also use Key Vault as a key management solution. Key Vault makes it easier to create and control the encryption keys used to encrypt your data. You can use you can use Azure Key Vault for certification management, which is SSL certificates, TLS certificates, secret backed by hardware security modules, HSMs. And benefits of Azure Key Vault include centralized application secrets. So any application can use those secrets, and you can share secrets with the other applications. Securely store secrets and keys, monitor access and use, simplified administration of application secrets, simplified administration of application secrets, integrate with other Azure services. So you have multiple use of Azure Key Vault, and you will have in this in your exam. To protect your network, you have many things. You can use Azure Firewall. You have Azure Application Gateway. You have network virtual application appliances. Sorry. Azure Firewall is managed cloud-based network security service that protects your Azure virtual network resources. It is fully stateful firewall as a service with built-in high availability and unrestricted cloud scalability. Azure Firewall provides inbound protection for non-HTTPS protocols. Examples of non-HTTPS protocols include remote desktop protocol, secure shell, and FTP file transfer protocol. It also provides outbound network level protection for all ports and protocols. Then you have Azure Application Gateway, which is a kind of load balancer that includes a web application firewall (WAF) that provides protection from common known vulnerabilities in websites. It is designed to protect HTTP traffic. So you will have question in your exam related to Azure Application Gateway or Azure Firewall, one of them for sure. So Azure Application Gateway is designed to protect HTTP traffic, and it uses web application firewall. Network virtual appliances are ideal options for non-HTTP services or advanced configurations and are similar to hardware firewall appliances. So these three type of protections in your network. Then you have DDoS service attacks, distributed denial of service attacks. So a user can act as can attack your application from multiple locations and can make your application too busy, and it can lead to even your application down, and or your application becomes slow or unresponsive. So yeah, an attacker tries to use application. If you don't have Azure DDoS protection, this application can go down. So Azure DDoS protection is simply when you combine Azure DDoS protection with application design best practices, you help provide defense against attacks. DDoS, DDoS attack protection leverages the scale and elasticity of Microsoft's global network to bring DDoS mitigation capacity to every Azure region. The Azure DDoS Protection Service protects your Azure applications by monitoring traffic at the Azure network as before it can impact your service availability. Within few minutes of attack detection, you are notified using Azure Monitor metrics. So in this diagram, which shows network traffic flowing into Azure from both customers and attacker. Azure DDoS protection identifies the attacker's attempt to overwhelm the network and blocks further traffic from reaching Azure services. Legitimate traffic from customers still flows into Azure without any interruption of services. So your customers don't have any problem, but attackers are blocked by DDoS protection. You have two types of protection. The basic service tier is automatically enabled as part of the Azure platform, always on traffic monitoring and real-time mitigation of common network level attacks provide the same defense that Microsoft's online services use. And standard is service tier provides additional mitigation capabilities that are tuned especially to Microsoft Azure Virtual Network resources. DDoS protection standard is simple to enable and require no application changes. Protection policies are tuned through dedicated traffic monitoring and machine learning algorithms. But this is for the outside network. But what if you want to control the traffic inside your virtual network? Then you have virtual network security. Once inside Once inside your virtual network, it's crucial that you limit communication between resources to only what is required. For that purpose, you have NSG, network security groups, for communication between virtual machines. Are NSG a really critical piece to restrict unnecessary communication. NSG allow you to filter network traffic to and from Azure resources in an Azure virtual network. This is really important question you will be asked in the exam about NSG. You use NSG within virtual network, and to outside and for outside virtual network you use virtual Azure firewall, Azure application gateway, network virtual appliances, DDoS attack protection, and inside you use NSG. So this is as simple as that, but still we forget it. Protect your shared documents. Microsoft also provides you Microsoft Azure Information Protection. It's a simple cloud-based solution that helps organizations classify and optionally protect documents and emails by applying labels. Labels can be applied automatically based on rules and conditions. Labels can also be applied manually. You can also guide your users to choose recommended labels with combination of automatic and manual steps. So what it does, analyze data flows to gain insights in your business, detect risky behavior and take corrective measures, track access to documents, prevent data leakage or misuse of confidential information. You can purchase AIP, Azure Information Protection, either as a standalone solution or through one of the Microsoft licensing suites like Enterprise Mobility plus Security or Microsoft 365 Enterprise. This is simple production theme from Azure. Then you have Azure Advanced Threat Protection (ATP). It has it's a cloud-based security solution that identifies, detects, and helps you investigate advanced threats, compromised identities, and malicious insiders actions directed at your organization. And it is capable of detecting known malicious attacks and techniques, security issues, and risks against your network. It consists of many things, many components, which are Azure ATP portal, Azure ATP sensor, Azure ATP cloud service. Azure ATP portal, you already know it's a online portal. Azure ATP sensor are installed directly on your domain controllers. The sensor monitors domain controller traffic without requiring a dedicated server or configuring port mirroring. You will have question related to ATP in your exam, and it might be related to Azure ATP sensor. And then you have Azure ATP cloud service, runs on Azure infrastructure and currently deployed in United States, Europe, and Asia. And it is connected to Microsoft's Intelligent Security Graph, which gives you updates or history related to suspicious accounts. So it will give you like some remote execution attempt detected, suspicious service creation attempt detected, brute force attack using LDAP, simple bind. So you will have that event history in your Azure ATP cloud service. You can purchase this advanced threat protection in as a part of Enterprise Mobility plus Security E5 suite, which is called EMS E5, and as a standalone license as well. You can acquire license directly from Enterprise Mobility plus Security pricing options page. But remember this, you can have this question in your exam. So remember this, Enterprise Mobility plus Security E5 suite. Let's check your knowledge, how much you learned. Let's go one by one. Cloud security is a shared responsibility between you and your cloud provider. Which category of cloud services requires the greatest security effort on your part? I already told you this will be in your exam as well. So the responsibility goes from left to right and it decreases. So infrastructure as a service is the most you need as a customer you need to do. Which of these options helps you most easily disable an account when an employee leaves your company? This will be also in your exam. Simple direct answer SSO. Because one identity is used for all the applications. So when an employee leaves, you just have to disable that identity and you are sure that all your applications are secure. Which of these approaches is the strongest approach or strongest way to protect sensitive customer data? Encrypt data as it sits in your database, encrypt data as it travels over the network, or both? Of course, both. There has been an attack on your public facing website and the application's resources have been overwhelmed and exhausted and are now unavailable to users. What service should you use to prevent this type of attack? Of course, DDoS. DDoS. You want to store certificates in Azure to centrally manage them for your services. Which Azure service should you use? So to store them centrally, you have Azure Key Vault. Let's check our answers. Congratulations. We did well. So let's continue to the next series. Next in this series is control and organize Azure resources with Azure Resource Manager. So you have Azure Resource Manager to organize resources, enforce standards, and protect critical assets from deletion. In this module, you will learn about how to use resource groups to organize Azure resources, use tags to organize resources, apply policies to enforce standards in your Azure environments, use resource locks to protect critical Azure resources from accidental deletion. So you have Azure Resource Manager, which can be used for these four purposes, or these things can be done using a Resource Manager. So what is principles of a resource group? Resource groups are a fundamental element of Azure platform. A resource group is a logical container for resources deployed on Azure. These resources are anything you create in Azure subscription like virtual machines, application gateways, Cosmos DB instance, anything. All resources must be in resource group and a resource can only be a member of a single resource group. You will have this question in your exam. Can a resource be part of multiple resource groups or not? Or a resource group can share its resources with other resource groups or not? So remember this in your exam. Resource group can't be nested. Before any resource can be provisioned, you need a resource group for it to be placed in. So every resource should be placed in a resource group. Resource groups exist to help manage and organize your Azure resources by placing resources of similar users, type, or location. You can provide some order and organizations to resources you create in Azure. Logical grouping is the aspect that we are most interested in here, since there is a lot of disorder among our resources. So you can create a resource group using Azure Portal, Azure PowerShell, Azure CLI, and you have templates and Azure SDK. So to create how to create a resource using Azure Portal, you simply have to go to Azure Portal, and there you search for resource group. In previous videos, I showed you when I gave you a live example about creating web APIs. For that, it created automatically a resource, and you can create that resource group as well. So you create a resource group, and then on Azure portal menu from home page, select resource group and select your newly created resource group. And in this resource group, you will see recently created resource groups. So you can do many things with yeah, it's user friendly menu, so you can do many things there. You can organize principles, uh, you can create some policies on those resource groups. So simply you can do a lot using Azure PowerShell. Also, you can do that Azure CLI, or you can have templates, Azure Resource Manager templates. So these templates are in JSON format, and you can download them, or your company or organization create default templates for your resource managers to enforce policies and standards, so you can use those templates directly. You also have Azure SDKs for runtime development, and in .NET or Java, both can use this. Then in the resource manager, you have tagging. You can create tags for your resources, and to differentiate like department like finance, marketing, or something else, environment, production, dev, test, cost center, life cycle, and automation. So for these purposes, you can create tags. Tags are simply name value pairs of text data that you can apply to resources and resource groups. Tags allow you to associate custom details about your resources in addition to the standard Azure properties a resource has. So you can add an additional key value pair to your resource, so that in future you can differentiate on based on those values. You if you want to differentiate different departments like finance, marketing, and more, environment, production, test, dev, cost center, so that later on you can use those tags to differentiate. You can simply get use command line interface for that, and get the resources with certain tags in your resource group, and you can filter to get the cost related to those tags. You use policies to enforce standards. So what is Azure Policy? Azure Policy is a service you can use to create, assign, and manage policies. These policies apply and enforce rules that your resources need to follow. These policies can enforce these rules when resources are created, and can be evaluated against existing resources to give visibility into compliances. So this is really important. You will have question related to this in your exam. Policies can enforce things such as only allowing specific types of resources to be created or allowing resources in specific Azure regions. You can enforce naming conventions across your Azure environment. You can enforce that specific tags are applied to resources. So you have different criteria or possibilities with Azure policies. So here and here is an example of creating a policy which has a new policy definition, location, name, description, and then category. You can create new category or use existing, and then policy rule, which is I just covered because some confidential things. But yeah, this is simply a JSON format, and you create a policy which has mode, policy rule, a condition. If field blah blah exists, then do this effect. Effect can be deny or yeah. So this is simple policy creation example, but go on Azure Learn page and check yourself Azure policy creation. This is really important, and you will have this in your exam. You can have tags on your policies as well in future if you want to use or filter policies based on tags. You have secure resources with role-based access control. So um, implementing Azure policy ensured that all our employees with Azure access are following our internal standards for creating resources. But we have a second issue we need to solve. How do we protect those resources once they are deployed? We have IT personnel that need to manage settings, developers that need to have read-only access, and administrators that need to be able to control them completely. There we need role-based access control. For that, you can allow one user to manage virtual machines in a subscription and another user to manage virtual network. You can allow database administrator group to manage SQL databases in a subscription, allow a user to manage all resources in a resource group such as virtual machines, websites, and virtual subnets. You can allow an application to access all resources in a resource group. For this, you use access control in a portal. You have this access control IAM panel for the resources in Azure portal. In this panel, you can see who has the access to an area and their role. This same panel, you can also grant or remove access. So you see this RBAC uses an allow model for access. When you are assigned to role, RBAC allows you to perform specific actions such as read, write, or delete. Therefore, if one role assignment grants you read permission to resource group and a different role assignment grants you a write permission to the same group, you'll have both permission, read and write permission to that resource group. You will have a question related to this in your exam. Next one is use resource locks to protect resources. Why do we need resource locks? If we have we just saw policies and then RBAC, and then why do we need resource locks? Resource locks are settings that can be applied to a resource to block modification or deletion. Resource locks can set to either delete or read only. Delete will allow operations against the resource but block the ability to delete it. Read only will allow only read activities to be performed against it, blocking any modification or deletion of the resource. Why it is really important? Because if you don't want your resource to be deleted even by someone with higher authorization, even they won't be able to delete it by mistake, because many people who have all the rights, they can by mistake or knowingly they can delete your resource. And if you think your resource is really important, and it can be misunderstood, or I don't know, there can be any reason for that. And if you don't want them to be deleted like this, so you can add locks on them. To create a resource, you will have to use your resource manager, and then you can use it. You can add a resource lock like this on specific resource group, and you can say if you want to block deletion and what kind of lock type it is, and then you just have to click OK. Let's check your knowledge how we did. Tags can be applied to any type of resource on Azure. Nice question, because you will have this question in your exam, and this is really important to know. So tags can we apply tags to any type of resources on Azure? No, simply no. You cannot apply tags to every resource, only those resources that supports it. Tags applied to a resource group level are propagated to resources within the resource group. So second thing, tags are not inherited. This is also false. Which of the following is not a feature of resource groups? So resources can only be in one resource group. Resources can be moved from one resource group to another resource group. Resource groups can be nested. We already saw this. Resource group can resource group be nested? No, we already saw this. So this is not feature of resource group. Which of the following might be good uses of tags? Using tags to associate a cost center with resources for internal chargeback. You can tag using tags in conjunction with Azure Automation to schedule maintenance window. Using tags to store environment and department association. All of the above good ways to use tags. What do you think? Generally, all of them, because yeah, they are tags are used for these purposes. Which of the following would be the most efficient way to ensure a naming convention was followed across your subscription? Ring the bell. You need to create a policy with your naming requirements and assign it to scope of your subscription correctly. Which of the following would be good to put a resource lock on? An express route circuit with connectivity back to your on-premises network, a non-production virtual machine used to test occasional application builds, a storage account used to temporarily store images processed in development environment. So yeah, for last two we don't care, but for this one we do care. So we don't want this to be deleted. We did very well. All the questions are correct. Let's go back to our thing, And we are on third one. I'll go directly to the slide. Simply, this series is really important because we will have questions related uh, to the to this series, and this is really small. This is not so big series, but the answers are really confusing. So that's why we really need to be careful with this series. Next series is apply and monitor infrastructure standards with Azure Policy. So to apply standards, monitor with Azure Policy, you in this module we will learn about governance and management in Azure services. In this module, we will apply policies to control and audit resource creation, learn how role-based security can fine-tune access to your resources, understand Microsoft policies and privacy guarantees, learn how to monitor your resources. Let's go. So you have, for this purpose, you define IT compliances with Azure Policy. For that, you need to create policy. What is Azure Policy? We already know that. Azure Policy is an Azure service that you use to create, assign, and manage policies. These policies enforce different rules and effects over your resources so that those resources stay compliant with your corporate standards and service level agreements. Azure Policy meets this need by evaluating your resource for non-compliance with assigned policies. And then for after that, you can view the policy evaluation results to verify how compliant you are. So then we know how we are doing actually. And for this purpose, you can really use whole your you can really organize your resources accordingly. And after policies, you can even go one more level higher and use initiatives. So you can organize policies with initiatives. What are initiatives? Managing a policy definition is easy, but once you have more than few, you will want to organize them. That's where initiatives comes in. Initiatives work alongside policies in Azure Policy. An initiative definition is a set of group of policy definitions to help track your compliance state for a larger goal. Even if you have single policy, we recommend using initiatives if you anticipate increasing the number of policies over time. Like policy assignment and initiative assignment is initiative definition assigned to a specific scope. So, in simple language, many policies are grouped together, similar policies, kind of. So let's say a policy definition is monitor encrypted SQL database in security center for monitoring encrypted SQL databases and servers. Another one is monitor OS vulnerabilities in security center. And third one is monitor missing endpoint protection in security center. All of three are packaged together for to create initiatives. Then for overall governance, enterprise governance management. This is really important, and we don't pay attention to this because it's easy, but we forget it. Access management occurs at the Azure subscription level. This allows an organization to configure each division of the company in a specific fashion based on their responsibilities and requirements. Planning and keeping rules consistent across subscription can be challenging without a little help. Azure management groups are containers for managing access, policies, and compliance across multiple Azure subscriptions. Management groups allow you to order your Azure resources hierarchically into collections, which provide a further level of classification that is above the level of subscription. All subscription with management group automatically inherit the conditions applied to the management group. Management groups give you enterprise grade management at large scale, no matter what type of subscriptions you might have. So you have human resource, then IT. IT contains two more: production, geo region two. Then in marketing you have subscription, free trial subscriptions. These are the last level of subscriptions. Then define standard resources with Azure Blueprint. What is Blueprint? Azure Blueprint. And security or compliance requirements, whether government or industry requirements, can be difficult and time consuming. To help with auditing, traceability, and compliance with your deployments, you use Azure Blueprints. Azure Blueprints allows an engineer for an engineer or an architect to sketch a project's design parameter. Azure Blueprint enables cloud architects and central information technology groups to define a repeatable set of Azure resources that implements and adheres to an organization's standards, patterns, and requirements. Azure Blueprint makes it possible for development teams to rapidly build and stand up new environments with trust. They are building within organizational compliance with a set of built-in components. So you just want to do some quick deployment. You create Azure Blueprint, which contains all your resource groups, definitions, and resources in it. So it's kind of blueprint of your all the resource groups templates, and you can use that for future use. How it is different than Resource Manager template? Azure Blueprint service is designed to help with environment setup. This setup often consists of a set of resource group policies, role assignments, and Resource Manager template deployments. A blueprint is a package to bring each of these artifacts types together and allows you to compose and version that package, including through CI/CD pipeline. So it's programmatically deploying your quickly your resources. And how it is different than Azure Policy, I think you understood already, because Azure Blueprint contains Azure policies. So it's one level above. Service compliance with Compliance Manager. This is important. It has Microsoft privacy statements, Microsoft Trust Center, Microsoft Service Trust Portal, then you have Compliance Manager. These four are in same order. So except the Microsoft privacy statement is different. Then you have Microsoft Trust Center, which contains Service Trust Portal, which contains Compliance Manager. What is Microsoft privacy statement? The Microsoft privacy statement explains that personal data Microsoft processes, how Microsoft processes it, and for what purpose. So for GDPR purpose, you need Microsoft privacy statement. What is Microsoft Trust Center. Trust Center is a website resource containing information and details about how Microsoft implements and supports security, privacy, compliance, and transparency in all Microsoft cloud products and services. The Trust Center is an important part of Microsoft Trusted Cloud initiative. You can go in depth, but let's go to next one, Service Trust Portal, which hosts Compliance Manager service and is the Microsoft public site for publishing audit reports and other compliance related information relevant to Microsoft's cloud service. Service Trust Portal users can download audit reports produced by external auditor and gain insight from Microsoft authored reports that provides details on how Microsoft builds and operates in cloud services. This is also really important. You will have it in your exam, so please pay attention to these three words: Compliance Manager, Service Trust Portal, and Microsoft Trust Center. These are not different to each other, but they have different meaning and they are used interchangeably, so you can misunderstand or you can just forget it. So Compliance Manager is a workflow-based risk assessment dashboard with a trust portal that enables you to track, assign, and verify your organization's regulatory compliance activities related to Microsoft Professional Services and Microsoft Cloud services such as Office 365. So this is a simple workflow-based risk assignment dashboard within Trust Portal. So just be careful with these three words. I think Microsoft privacy statement is clear, but these three terms are a bit confusing and misunderstood all the time. And you will have questions in your exam related to these three as well. Then how can you monitor your service health? Defining policy and access provides fine-grained control over resources in your cloud IT infrastructure. Once those resources are deployed, you will want to know about any issues or performance problems they might encounter. So for this purpose, we have two things: Azure Monitor and Azure Service Health. Azure Monitor maximizes the availability and performance your of your applications by delivering a comprehensive solution for collecting, analyzing, and acting on telemetry from your cloud and on-premises environments. It helps you understand how your applications are performing and proactively identifies issues affecting them and the resources they depend on. Same, so you can enable guest level monitoring, performance counters, event log, crash dumps, syncs, agents. You also have application insights, Azure Monitor containers, Azure Monitor for virtual machines. Then on these conditions, you have alerts, auto scales. You can visualize this data in dashboard and you can export these views. This is Azure Monitor. But then you have Azure Service Health. This is suite for a suite of experiences that provide personalized guidance and support when issues with Azure services affect you. It can notify you, help you understand the impact of issues, and keep you updated as the issue is resolved. Azure Service Health can also help you prepare for planned maintenance and changes that could affect the availability of your resources. So Azure Service Health contains three things: Azure Status, Service Health, Resource Health. You have to understand The difference between Azure Monitor and Azure Service Health. It Azure Service Health is basically for Azure status, service health, resource health. So provide Azure status provides a global view of the health state of Azure services. With Azure status, you can get up to the minute information on service availabilities. Service Health provides you with a customizable dashboard that tracks the state of your Azure service in the regions where you use them. Then Resource Health helps you diagnose and obtain support when an Azure service issue affects your resources. And Service Health, so Azure Health relevant sorry in Service Health there is a dashboard. You can track active events such as operate ongoing service issues, upcoming planned maintenance, or relevant health advisories. When these events become inactive, they are placed in your health history for up to 90 days. You will have a question related to this in your exam, for for how many days you can have these inactive issues in your history, health history. So for 90 days. Remember this. And also Service Health is used for maintenance and relevant health advisories. So I hope you remember the difference between Azure Monitor and Azure Health, Service Health. Let's check our knowledge, how much we learned actually. Let's go to true or false. You can download published audit reports and other compliance related information related to Microsoft's cloud service from the Service Trust portal. Is it true or false? What do you think? So this is true. You can download published audit reports and other compliance related information in your Service Trust portal. Which Azure service? Put this true. Which Azure service allows you to configure fine-grained access management for Azure resources, enabling you to grant users only the rights they need to perform their jobs. Logs? No. Policy? No. Initiatives? No. Then role-based access control. Simple. Which Azure service allows you to create, assign, and manage policies to enforce different rules and affect your over your resources and stay compliant with your corporate standards and service level agreements. Azure Policy, Azure Blueprint, Azure Security Center, role-based access control. No, no, no. Then Azure Policy. Which of the following services provides up-to-date status information about the health of Azure services? Compliance Manager? No. Azure Monitor? What do you think? Because this can be confusing. Service Trust Portal? This can be confusing. Azure Service Health? Yes. Why? Because Azure Service Health provides you a global view of the health of your Azure services. With Azure Status, a component of Azure Service Health, you can get up to the minute information on service availability. The next one is where you Obtain details about personal data Microsoft processes, how it processes it, and for what purpose. Simple Microsoft privacy statements. Let's check our answers. Congratulations, you did really well. So, thank you. This module ends here. I hope you pass it and do good in this exam. And next module is about pricing. So I will publish next video very soon. Till then, please stay tuned and let me know how your reactions in comment section. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.